Good afternoon, all. Welcome back to the lecture series of Goods and Services Tax, paper 309. And we are going to take up audits today. So, as we all know, that audit under GST involves examination of records, returns, and other documents maintained by a GST registered person. So, in general term, if we talk about audit, is rematching or rechecking the records that have maintained and the compliances against the act that has been done. So audit here also is examination of whatever records you have maintained, whatever returns you have filed. It's simply the matching of what returns you have filed for the GST compliance and what records you are maintaining against that. So that if any discrepancy is being found out, the corrective measures can be taken accordingly. Then next bit it says it also ensures correctness of turnover declared, taxes paid, refund claimed, input tax credit availed, and assesses other such compliances under GST Act to be checked by an authorized expert. So obviously, this is one of the important points, and the reason behind conducting the audit is to ensure that whatever the compliances has been made is all true, it is transparent and accurate. So whenever the audit is being done, we need to verify the correctness of the turnover that has been declared. We need to check the taxes that has been paid under GST, then refund that has been claimed or the input tax credit that has been availed, and other compliances that needs to be done by the registered person, so that the compliance and the actual supplies or actual transactions that is being done in the business is throughout matching. Then GST is a trust-based taxation regime wherein a taxpayer is required to self-assess his tax liability. This all we have learned in the previous topics only, that GST is moreover done on the self-assessment basis, where the taxpayer itself knows that what is the rate of tax that need to be charged and what all are the value of goods on which the tax has to be charged. So in major of the cases, it is self-assessment. So in that case, the taxpayer itself assesses the tax liability and accordingly pay the taxes. So whenever the self-assessment is being done by the taxpayer or the registered person, then the taxpayer is required to maintain the transparency, because a trust has been formed on the taxpayer that whatever details he is furnishing is correct. So when he is required to pay the taxes, so it has been assumed that the transparency has been maintained, and accordingly, the taxpayer has paid the taxes and the records has been maintained. Thus, to ensure that whether the taxpayer has correctly self-assessed his tax liability, a robust, you can say, active audit mechanism is a must. Now, various measures have been taken by the government to ensure that the proper implementation of the GST compliance is being done, and that is the reason why audit is also one of the part of that mechanism, to ensure that the compliance is being done properly and the records are being maintained as accordingly. Now, under types of audits, we can see here three different types of audits are there. First is the turnover-based audit, then normal audit, or we call it as a general audit, and then special audit. Let's take up the turnover-based audit first. As you can see here, it's written, first point says that the turnover-based audit, it is conducted by chartered accountants or cost accountants appointed by the taxpayer. So in this case, when the turnover-based audit needs to be conducted, it is the taxpayer who appoints the chartered accountant or any of the cost accountant, and they conduct the audit for the taxpayer. And this is done on the condition that if the turnover exceeds 2 crores, then the taxpayer has to get his accounts and records audited. The next is the normal audit or general audit, we call it. This is conducted by the Commissioner of CGST or SGST or any officer authorized by such authorities on order of Commissioner by giving 15 days prior notice. This needs to be conducted. So without notice, this audit cannot be conducted. So it's essential to give a 15 days notice to the registered person for the audit. Then special audit is a chartered accountant or cost accountant. It is conducted by chartered accountant or cost accountant nominated by the commissioner. So it is essential that the appointment of the chartered accountant or cost accountant should be done by the commissioner. It should not be selected by the taxpayer. Then on order of deputy or assistant commissioner with prior approval of the commissioner, this can be conducted. So let us take in detail the turnover based audit first. Now, turnover based audit here sees it has been clearly mentioned that it needs to be done by all the registered taxpayer if the turnover exceeds 2 crore. So any registered person, if his turnover is exceeding 2 crores, need to get his account audited by chartered accountant or a cost accountant. And this chartered accountant or cost accountant can be selected or is selected by the registered taxpayer only. This registered person needs to furnish electronically. Now here under this, the registered person has to furnish the following details. First, annual return as per section 44 of the GST Act. Whatever is the annual return he needs to file. Then second is copy of audited statement of accounts. So audited statement of accounts along with the annual turnover is required to be filed by the registered person, which can be done electronically. Then reconciliation statement that reconciles the value of supplies furnished in the annual return with the audited financial statement. So along with the financial statements, audited financial statement, whatever is available, with that the registered person needs to file the reconciliation statement also, which is reconciling the value of supplies that is given by the taxpayer and the value of supplies that is there in the audited statement. Then next is the annual return, audited annual accounts, and the reconciliation statement in Form GSTR 9C shall be furnished by the registered taxpayer. So all these are for formats that needs to be submitted. Then further it says the term turnover mentioned above relates to aggregate turnover and not turnover in state. Aggregate turnover, what is meant here is, let's see that, is calculated on all India basis having the same PAN number. So this is the first very important point that you need to keep in mind, that aggregate turnover here means that the turnover, all the offices having the same PAN number, the submission of all these turnover having the same PAN number is considered to be an aggregate turnover. So, for example, a registered person is liable to get the accounts audited under Section 35 of the GST Act, and hence each registration required under the same PAN number would also be liable for GST audit in this case. This is what we were discussing right now. Now, aggregate turnover, this is equal to value of all taxable supplies. It includes both the interstate supply, intrastate supply, plus exempt supplies, plus export supplies of all goods and services. So when we calculate the aggregate turnover, we include all the taxable supplies, all the exempt supplies, and the export supplies of goods and services. This will give you the value of the aggregate turnover. Now, what all accounts that needs to be reviewed by the GST auditor? First, it is the sales register. Whatever accounts that has been made by the registered taxpayer in reference to the GST compliance, in reference to maintaining records of the GST, that all needs to be audited. So, as we have discussed in the previous session also, that any accounts that needs to be prepared for GST, like stock register, goods receiving register, purchase register, sales register, input tax credit, or you can say output tax liability or input tax liability, e-way bills, vouchers, whatever documents that has been prepared in reference to the supplies, all those documents need to be recorded and kept for the audit purpose. So here under this slide, we can see there are certain documents or the important accounts or records that need to be reviewed under the GST audit. That is sales register, stock register, purchase register, expense ledgers, or input tax credit availed and utilized, output tax payable, e-way bills generated through the period under audit, then any document that record communications from the GST department leading to the year. So particularly for that year, what all records is available, that all records need to be checked by the auditors. And coming to the normal or the general audit, normal or general audit here means where the audit is conducted by the commissioner, authority is being given by the commissioner or an officer authorized by him, undertakes the audit of the registered person under section 65 of the CGST Act. This is done for such period at such interval and in a manner as specified in the general or specific order. The concerned officers may carry out his audit at the place of business of the registered person or his office. Then the tax authorities must intimate the registered tax person of such an audit through a notice, and this notice should be given at least 15 days before initiating such an audit, and it should be in the form of GST ADT, that is audit 1. So at least for this normal or the general audit, it needs to be conveyed to the registered person before 15 days, or 15 days prior notice has to be issued. Also, such an audit must be completed within 3 months from the date of commencement. So, whatever is the date of commencement, from that 3 months time period is allotted for such audit. However, the commissioner can choose to extend the time period if he believes that the audit cannot be completed within 3 months. But for that, he need to specify the reason that why such extension is required for conducting the audit. And once the authorized person is convinced with that reason, he can extend the period of such audit to maximum of 6 months. Then the proper officer may inform the registered person of the discrepancies notice, if any, and the said person may file his reply, and the proper officer may finalize the findings of the audit after the due consideration. Then finally, the concerned officer will intimate the registered person within 30 days about his final findings of the audit in the form 2 for the audit. So for the audit purpose, we have already filled the form number 1. Now the final, what is the final proceedings for that, final findings for that audit needs to be filed under the form 2 of the audit within 30 days. Now, where the audit conducted under results in detection of tax not paid or shortly paid or erroneously refunded, or input tax credit wrongly availed or utilized, like you can say if any discrepancy has been found out in the part of registered taxpayer under the GST compliance or the payment of tax or input tax credit that has been availed, then that may be considered under section 73 or 74. That is, it may be considered under fraud or not fraud. That we are going to take up in the future sessions. So this is it for today. We will take up the special audit in the next session. Thank you all.